today to talk to us here at Bekindr and share with us some of your experiences about kindness.
Well, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm always happy to talk about kindness. So for me, perhaps my adult memories of kindness was wanting to be kind to animals. I was very much into animal rescue in my young years. And here in New York, I had at one point 4 dogs and 6 cats that I'd rescued from the local area animal shelters. And I thought that my highest purpose would be to rescue these animals that didn't have anyone to protect them. And I was very into just helping these really beautiful animals. But then coincidentally, I went to Indonesia and I visited, we passed an orphanage. And I thought to myself, we don't have orphanages in America. But in my mind, it was kind of like an animal shelter for kids. But obviously, kids are more important than animals. So I thought I should go in and pet the kids, give the lady $100 or something. So I went in, and I was just really shocked because it was worse than any animal shelter I'd ever seen. It was full of love, it was full of hope, but they had no resources whatsoever. It was kind of like an airplane hangar with crib after crib of kids just kind of lying down, looking very depressed. I learned later that they were being fed that instant milk, and it was being spread too thin because they didn't have enough money to really give the kids what they needed. So there were just dozens and dozens and dozens of kids lying down, but there was this one infant who was standing up. And I asked if I could pick him up, and he was about 10 months old, and he was standing up, pick me up, and then I asked if I could pick him up, and they said sure, and there's like this surge of energy between us. It was just, I didn't quite get it, but it was like, wow, he's like, get me out of here. And so I moved heaven and earth, and I was able to somehow bring him back to America, paid $35 to take him out the door. And when I really realized that there was a problem in terms of the finances of this institution, all the kids were naked from the waist down, and they had these ratty t-shirts. They were clean, but they'd been washed by hand so many times that they had holes in them. And as we left, there was this concerned conversation at the doorway, and I didn't know what was going on, and I asked it to be translated. And it turns out that the t-shirt belonged to the institution, and it must have cost like 10 cents or something. And that belonged, like, I hadn't bought the t-shirt. They needed that for the next kid. And so I took my son completely naked out into the equatorial sun in the parking lot, thinking to myself, wow, I have a lot to learn about fatherhood for one thing. But also, I was just thinking, if a 10-cent t-shirt would make the difference here, what would $50 a month make? What would $500, what difference would $500 a month make for this institution and the kids that were there? So I came home, and my mom was a child psychologist and was rather surprised to have an instant Indonesian grandson from her gay son. I was like, wow, children. Okay, that was my big complaint, was no grandchildren. So good, we got over that.
Oh,
and
sweet. Problem solved.
Problem solved. And she wasn't so happy with me being focused in finance. She really wanted me to do something to give back to society. And I had really felt this was a life-altering experience, this orphanage.
Certainly.
And she worked with me to come up with a way that I could somehow get involved with helping children in orphanages in the developing world on a larger basis, what kind of impact we could make. So that was 20 years ago, and today my son is 24 years old, and we created a separate orphanage in Indonesia, and the kids have been raised and graduated from university there. And I'm so excited that this summer we have another initiative here in New York with kids from around the world who are studying here, international students. And we're taking a group, a rather large group, to Indonesia this summer to meet the orphan graduates who have just graduated from the university there. So my New York project will meet my Indonesian project. And I'm so excited. So that's kind of the bookends of my experiences with kindness.
Oh, isn't that so beautiful?
It's really exciting.
Yeah. Tell me more about the orphanage over there.
Well, the orphanage there ran, and it was kind of an orphanage that was just set up for that group of children. And as they aged out, we closed the orphanage down. And the first 10 years, we tried to run our own orphanages. We ran an orphanage on the opposite end of Indonesia after the tsunami. We ran an orphanage, a children's project in Sri Lanka after the tsunami. We ran all sorts of orphan care and educational activities in Haiti before and after the earthquake 10 years ago. But over the last 10 years, we have gone from running our own project to kind of being a foundation for existing orphanages programs. We now work to support the orphanage of the Dalai Lama in India, high up in the Himalayan mountains. And in fact, one of our board members, who's a big supporter of the Dalai Lama's orphanage there at Manjushri, has promised $60,000 a year to this orphanage in Indonesia. And when we go back this summer, my son will be with us, and it will be the first time he's visited the orphanage since 10 months. And he will announce that we're bringing back $60,000 a year in perpetuity to raise those kids. So he is on cloud nine. He's so excited.
That is wonderful.
And it's all about just sharing, as we talked about earlier, and having the possibility for things to grow, and just letting people know what you're doing and letting others contribute, because people are really desperate to contribute and to experience kindness, and a lot of people just don't know how to get involved. So I've tried to be a conduit for that as well.
So you're looking at what you are doing, not what you're not doing.
Yeah, if you look at what you're not doing, you give up. But
exactly.
All of us, we can hold the door for somebody on the subway. We can do anything.
So what do you do that makes you happy?
Oh, I like to read. I jog on occasion. My doctor was just telling me I'm overweight, so I have to jog a little more. What makes me happy? Hanging out with my kid, family. Family time is very important, and I think my biggest regret is not having more family time. It goes by so fast. But anyway, I like being with people. And when you see how people's lives can just be impacted by the smallest thing, by this 10-cent t-shirt. We can all do so much. And just people want to give. They just don't always know how. So we try to show them.
Well, that is extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. And I admire your work on so many levels.
Thank you.
And what you've done is so unique and so powerful. And I just hope you can continue doing this for a long, 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 long time.
I've told the board I'll retire at 74. And again, my math is bad, but I think that's 25 more years, right? Yeah. So the world's going to be stuck with me for at least then. Peter Polomeri is one of my mentors, and he's going strong at his age. So every year I have to raise my retirement age to keep up with Peter. He's done 4 benefit concerts for us. He's just an amazing man. If I can be as strong as Peter Yarrow, I'll be happy. That's my goal in life.
Jim, it's been amazing to talk to you. What you're doing is so incredible, and it's really inspired me. I'm wondering what message you'd like to leave with our listeners today.
Just be kind. It costs nothing to be kind. You don't need to have resources. A smile is kindness. Holding the door for someone is a kindness. So just all of us can be kind, and we just have to be open and aware of the possibilities and create a space that allows people to come into our world and offer them kindness.
I love that.
Well, I've enjoyed chatting with you today, and I really appreciate this time to talk about kindness. I can't imagine anything more important to talk about.
Well, thank you so much, Jim, for taking time out of
My
a very
pleasure.
busy schedule.
Certainly.
To educate me and hopefully inspire and educate our listeners today.
You've been educating me as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, my pleasure. Thank you.